Reintegration is almost never possible. If someone is excluded from normal life in society, especially starting at a young age, it is likely due to inherent qualities that that person possesses. For instance, alternative interests, a more moderate temperament, or a less moderate temperament, a desire to talk about more abstract subjects, or other things. Basically, like, if you get excluded socially early on, it's probably because of some inherent quality which you possess. It's not like there's not really anything that can be done about it. It's just something which is like unavoidable because of your nature and because of how other people see you. And for this reason, I would say like it's completely impossible really to ever overcome this, because you would have to fundamentally change your nature, which is just not possible. Normal life in contemporary society amounts mostly to unobserved revelry in order to distract from a largely desultory and unsatisfying life. And yeah, this goes for pretty much everyone. I don't think that there are really that many people in life who are really satisfied at all. They are pretty much just like trying to cover it up constantly, like the fact that they dislike the way they're living. School is painful and repetitive, and to an extent that's a common sentiment. Working is functionally more of the same. However, actually acknowledging exactly how boring and painful it is considered a social faux pas. This is because life for the average person is built largely around the avoidance of the painful question regarding personal satisfaction. And yeah, I would say that on the whole, yeah, it's pretty much all social life is kind of based around this. I don't think there's like any exceptions to this, or if it's not based around like the avoidance of it, then that's probably because you're talking about people who have been socially maladjusted or excluded in some way, and those people have a lot of issues themselves. It's assumed that there is no real solution to the problem, so everyone needs to just accept their circumstances and try to wring as much petty and mundane pleasure out of their lives. This is the mindset behind taking pleasure in the little things. It's a total abandonment of all ambition and hope based on the knowledge that these things are major sources of pain. It's a gesture towards apathy without ever really having the courage to acknowledge what you're doing. You are essentially attempting to be apathetic without like admitting that that's what you're doing. You're coming up with like a secondary explanation as to why that's the case. You're saying, well, I don't need to actually pursue my ambitions in order to find satisfaction in my life. I can just find satisfaction in the small things and in the repetitive, mundane tasks which I do every single day. Or, in living in the moment or whatever, anything like this. I mean, first of all, it's actually impossible for someone who's really been socially excluded because, well, I guess we'll get to that. This is why attacking someone based on their personal failures or frustrated ambition is almost always the most incisive and rude thing you can say. Most people are essentially engaged in a collective pantomime, hoping that if they pretend to have satisfaction in their lives, it will magically manifest in their lives. And yeah, so the rules of social engagement are essentially just avoid the discussion of the abandonment of ambition or trying to pursue satisfaction in your life, because it's too painful for people. And also, if you actually look at like what is the rudest thing you can say to someone, it is almost always an attack on their personal failures. That's always going to upset them more than attacking them based on their appearance or their race or other inherent qualities that they have, because they view that as being even more fundamental than those things. Your ambition is sort of like, that is who you are. It's not something which is separable from you in your essence. And so like when you actually attack someone for that, it's interpreted as being more fundamental than your race or your appearance or anything else about you, which you can't change. That is the primary thing. And so all of social life is basically organized around trying to just avoid this topic in general. And the social, like, social etiquette is literally just a rule set of engaging with other people to where this topic never comes up. Even to an extent, I think you could say something like a person's appearance, like attacking someone for their appearance, or for, well, something like ugly people, right? They're almost a reminder of a failure to actually adapt or like fully integrate the principles which you believe in, because a lot of people are liberal. A lot of people are liberal, and so they think that essentially you should not judge people based off of qualities like their appearance, the inherent qualities that they have. Everyone has some sort of like inherent value, and so like judging people based off their appearance is bad, but they still do it, and so ugly people are kind of a reminder of their failure to integrate their own principles in this way, um, because they still will disregard them or judge them, and so it's sort of a reminder of their own failure. And I think a lot of essentially social faux pas, or any kind of like everything which is anathema, is really just a reminder of personal failure of ambition, or yeah, I guess adherence to abstract goals and things like this. Um, that's I think what social etiquette is actually based around. It's just avoiding that. A lot of people can even functionally ignore this problem due to being stupid or unable to really see their circumstance. Anyone with the ability to see their circumstance has two options. Sorry. People who can ignore this problem because they're stupid or unable are, those are normal people. Those are normies. That's just like the sort of, that's the sphere that people who want to reintegrate into, because they view that as being like where, I don't know what you want to call it, like where the social capital is, where they can gain the most status, or where they can like, well, I guess we'll get into that. Anyone with the ability to see the circumstance has two options. First is attempt to reintegrate, and second is just to exclude themselves from normal social life. I don't know if there are any other options apart from suicide. Those two seem like you could basically exclude yourself from normal social life, which could be, trying to integrate into a social sphere which is not normal, but that comes with its own issues. Reintegration will always be incomplete. It will be clear to everyone around you that any geniality or politeness is an affect. It is not natural to you. This is because the pantomime is based off of social conventions. It's a game designed to exclude people who might harm the very fragile social order. This means anyone who's trying to reintegrate, as they fail to learn the rules as children due to being excluded. Presumably they were excluded for a reason. I don't mean this to say that, there is necessarily something wrong with you because you are socially excluded, but that's the way that normal people view it, just instinctively. Any attempt to relearn the rules of social convention in adulthood results in an attempt to quantify and learn them by rote, by which I mean without earnest understanding of why they exist in the first place, or the organic human component to them. So you don't actually understand these rules, and so you're just sort of going through the motions, and that will be very clear to people. It'll be extremely obvious to people what you're doing, and so like it's disturbing to people. It does bother them, and they will actually like exclude you for that as well. And so the problem is just twofold then. But even if you somehow manage to succeed in a circumstance like this by, trying to learn social convention in this way, I guess, well, yeah, hold on. This non-native rule set, combined with the goal of gaining social approval and countering personal insecurity, instills a very competitive and game-like mentality in the individual. Likely, they will participate in standard social activities to the nth degree, needing to drink more, sleep with more girls, earn more money, socially dominate more, and uh, more than anyone else. So, yeah, these activities, which I guess make up the bulk of normal social life, are essentially gamified because you're participating in them to achieve a certain goal. And, it's a non native rule set. So you're just like treating it as if it's a game to be won. And uh, these people will, I mean, for the most part, like even if you're successful at this, right, at playing the game, so to speak, you're going to, um, you, you're still going to be, you're not really going to like overcome the issue to begin with because it's still not native to you. Um, I do think that to an extent you can, like, it is probably possible to blend in, but you'll always be a chameleon basically. And, I had this guy that I knew um, back in primary school who he was a gamer, kind of a nerd. Everyone sort of, like, a lot of people made fun of him. And I saw him a decade later, and I was speaking to him, and he told me that he was like, "Oh, well, that school that we went to, it really like pushed me into being a nerd." When basically he was saying he was actually a jock and he should have been playing rugby this whole time. And it was immediately obvious to me that it was kind of, I just realized instantly that he was living a lie, and that he had this insecurity festering in him for the past decade. Um, and everything about him was this weird affect. He said he was a jock and a rugby player, but then also he would like lecture people about using the word retarded or something like this. Um, it just it didn't fit together. It was a sort of constructed thing. It was not native to him in any way. Um, and yeah, so he became roommates with another friend of mine, and he ended up just spreading rumors behind his back and disparaging him for no reason, like fucking him over in certain ways. And he was basically treating this sort of social life like it was a game. And it came out in this weird competitiveness and trying to like, and subterfuge and things like this, right? On the other hand, this gamified mindset precludes these things from having any internal satisfaction, as they are all supplementary to the goal of rectifying insecurity and gaining social approval. So yeah, the social approval is the end goal. And first of all, it'll never be enough, obviously. I mean, that should be obvious, but even aside from that, what you're doing to achieve the goal of social approval is, having sex or getting drunk, whatever. These things they're not satisfying the issue in and of themselves. They are supplementary to the goal of gaining social approval, and so you don't actually gain satisfaction out of them. It's just like, I don't know how I put it. Yeah, it's like participating in sort of hedonism, but without gaining any pleasure from it, and just living a life that is totally pointless in this way. Um, yeah. This is terminally unresolvable and likely makes the problem worse, as you intentionally overlook the true motives of your behavior, as is the prerequisite of participating in normal society, or normal social life. And I would say that, at the very least, pretending to overlook the true motives for your behavior is a prerequisite to normal social life. Uh, I don't think these people can truly overlook the motives to their behavior, even though they might try to or suppress it or ignore it. It will come back again and again. It's kind of unavoidable because you are a person with a higher capacity for understanding, or you have higher intelligence or whatever, or abstract understanding. Um, so yes, you're not really going to be able to truly suppress it, but you can try, and I think it just results in a lot of dissatisfaction with your life. I don't think it actually helps you at all. Um, but that, yeah, sorry. The alternative of excluding yourself from normal social life will also cause pain and often loneliness. And while it is possible to find similarly minded people, this is rare and often comes with its own set of issues. In as far as fraternizing with the mentally ill does bring issues. Um, I guess I probably shouldn't use the word mentally ill there because that carries with it certain judgments which or assumptions about like the nature of mental illness, which I don't really want to make. But you know, there are often probably people who are outcasts that are outcasts because they are pathological or have some sort of like um, self-destructive or compulsive behavior, which is just odious to other people. So like not all people who are outcast are going to be um, they're not going to be like good to fraternize with because they can bring their own problems. But is the company of people like that better than the sort of pathological normal people? I don't know. I mean, it seems really more or less the same thing. It's just that at the very least you don't have to live a lie if you are fraternizing with people who are similar to you in this regard, or people who are outcasts. It's not as deceptive, um, or whatever. You also do largely limit the scope of what is possible for you to achieve if you segregate yourself from normal society. And yes, this is true because um, uh, like forward progress in life is based off of your ability to integrate into social life. You know, if you are a person who is like poorly integrated or who has to try to reintegrate, you're really not going to have very much success, um, like in achieving anything. And so, ironically, like the ambition which you're, the satisfaction you're trying to get in your life, essentially, which comes from achieving your ambitions or whatever, you have to kind of destroy yourself in a sense just to get what you want or to get any kind of satisfaction in life, because you have to be able to eliminate large portions of your character, which you might not even be able to do ultimately, just in order to, move forward in society. And I think that that's like what you're being offered is essentially like just self-destruction either way. Self-destruction either in solitude or self-destruction in success, and functional solitude because you'll feel alone amongst all the people around you. So I just think that's what you have. You have solitude and self-destruction, and that's, as an intelligent person, your only options in society, and it's very unfortunate. Um, Likely in both cases, the end result is a desultory, unsatisfying life without any real hope or a uh, without any real hope for a respite to suffering. Um, yeah, and I don't want to say that there's not a potential for any success at all in life, because there probably is, but it's rare. Most people are still just going to have to spend a lifetime suffering. Intelligent people, that is, and I don't know of any. I don't see it getting better. Maybe it can, but the way that things are organized now is really quite abysmal. Just the way that social life is organized and society is organized. uh, there should never be a society which is essentially dominated by the people who are capable of um, self delusion at a mass scale, because that's just fetishism. You know, if you can delude yourself or lie to yourself into believing that you're happy when you're not, or you can lie to yourself into believing that um, what the way you're living is at all good or tolerable, then you are just a person who is like replete with self delusion, and these people are essentially the gatekeepers for all social life, and also therefore all success or all forward movement in society. This is the single worst possible way to organize a society, because you are exalting the most stupid, unquestioning people, the people with the least ambition, with the least potential, uh, and and also at the same time suppressing the most talented, intelligent, and capable people. Um, this is the exact inverse of a meritocracy, and I think because of this, like, there's really no way for the gifts that certain people have to be recognized or utilized in any way. Um, and for this reason, stagnation and decline is the only path forward for our society, until we can radically reorganize the, um, like, I guess, our attitude towards intelligent people and towards stupid people. Yeah. I'm quite sick, by the way, so forgive me if I cough or wheeze at all in this video.